claiming the rockets had been fired on the range during demonstrations. A second militaria dealer, Paul Barker, was jailed for 5 years as the instigator of the operation, which involved sending 5 of the rockets by a Red Star parcel post to Ulster extremists in Scotland. Angie Wild, IRN, Bristol Crown Court.
As rain continues to sweep across the country, this soggy summer month of June looks set for a place in the weather record books. The downpours have wiped out sporting events like Wimbledon, and pop star Prince has postponed his open-air concerts because he doesn't want to get wet. John Cookson reports on the steady drip, drip, drip of Britain's weather.
Wimbledon's been rained off today, and the fourth day's play at Lord's has also been abandoned. IRN weatherman Philip Eden says this June will go straight in the record books.
Well, we're lining up to be the wettest June over most of England and Wales since the beginning of the century.
And pop star Prince has postponed his Wembley concerts due on Thursday and Friday. The purple poser says he doesn't want to get his mascara wet.
Independent Radio News.
Out in the world, nations are killing each other. Men are dying. Women are being mugged and raped. Independent Radio knows in each hour, 24 hours a day, has 3 minutes in which to inform us what is going on in the world. They just spent 30 seconds of it talking about the piggin weather. And they wonder why people like me are sick to the back teeth of their moaning, whinging and screaming. There was an advert today in The Guardian saying, "Come and work for the largest independent radio network in Europe, IRN News." What journalist with any credibility will go all that way to talk about the flaming weather?
Hi, Mike Tunstall here with news of a great talent competition which could see you flying off to Nashville, the home of country music. Yes, Red Rose Radio, in association with Frontierland, Morecambe's Wild West theme park, are looking for the best country and western act in the county. The prize is a trip for 2 to Nashville, Tennessee, courtesy of Trans-America Holidays and National Travel World. Plus, 2 days recording at Avenue Parade Recording Studios of Accrington for broadcast on My Country Choice programme, and the opportunity for regular work at Frontierland. Heats are on Sunday afternoons in July and August at the Frontierland in Morecambe. Each heat winner walks away with £50 and goes through to the grand final. So let's be hearing from all you aspiring country and western stars. Send details and a demo if possible to me, Mike Tunstall, Red Rose Radio, P.O. Box 301, St Paul's Square in Preston. Do it now and you could be on your way to Nashville.
It's the time that you take, it's a coat, it's a break, it's a pause in the beat, a cool from the heat. Just what I need. It's a hit, Coca-Cola is it. It's put them on hold, that Coke is ice cold. It's let the train wait, don't care if I'm late. It's just how you feel, it's a break that's for real. It's a kick, it's a hit, it's a go. It's a kick, it's a hit, it's a Coke, Coca-Cola is it.
Along Blackpool prom, don't wear out your shoes. Take the beachcomber service on the Baby Blues. From Ginn Square to Pontins, buy a ticket to ride. 8 buses an hour, morning to night.
Take the Baby Blues along Blackpool Prom for 30 pence, or buy a weekly ticket for £3. Baby Blues stop at all the recognised bus stops from June 29th.
You just can't beat the Baby Blues.
I saw a minibus today with Baby Blues written on it. I wondered what it was. It's nice to find out. 6 minutes past 11.
Ring him if you dare.
And the telephone... Oh! Forgot that bit. Thank you very much. And the telephone number is, of course, Preston 56 1000. How do, Andy?
How do? I want to go and work in a foreign country.
Go on, then.
Sorry?
Go on, then.
And one of the questions that the consulate form have sent me is, have you ever been convicted of, a criminal offence? And I have. Will that stop me from getting into the country?
Well, it depends on the country, it depends on the offence, and it depends on when the offence was committed, or at least when you were convicted of it.
Yeah, well...
So the answer to the question is, how long's a piece of string? It's a bit difficult to answer.
A bit dodgy, is it?
What country are you thinking of going to?
Norway.
Norway?
Yeah.
And when was the offence committed?
Well, it was about 12 months ago.
Then it might stop you, because it's very recent.
Yeah. Also, the tax, if I earn any money out there, that's if, presuming they let me in, will I be taxed out there, or will it be taxed when I come back into the country?
That depends on two things. One, how long you're there for, and how long you're working there. If you're out of this country for a given period of time, which I think is 12 months, but I may be wrong, then you pay tax abroad and not here.
Yeah.
If you're out of this country for less than that period of time, and again, I only think it's 12 months, you'll be taxed on what you earned out there when you get back. But I don't know the Norwegian system. It may well be that you're taxed on what you earn out there no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Cheers. How do Steve?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I'd like to talk about the age of voting.
Go on.
I think you should be able to vote at the age of 16.
Why?
Well, the simple reason why is that the people that leave school will be under the power of the government that have been elected for a few years.
Well,
so
Steve,
I think they should be able to vote.
All people are under the power of the government.
Yeah,
8-year-olds. There's a law that says 5-year-olds have to go to school, and then we're going to give them the vote.
Yes. Oh, fair enough.
Yes, we are. We're going to give 5-year-olds the vote.
Yeah. No.
No. Yeah. Well, so far we've got 2 yeses and 2 nos. So which is it?
No.
No.
The 16-year-olds should be able to vote because they're leaving school.
Well, Steve,
and they're going into jobs.
Steve, you've not. Well, first of all, that's not necessarily the case for a lot of them. But you've not yet given me a reason why they should vote when 5-year-olds shouldn't.
Because 16-year-olds have got a good chance of, when they're leaving school, or going into jobs, and that involves taxes, insurance,
yes,
things like that.
Well, first of all, they haven't got a good chance, but just because you're paying into a system doesn't necessarily mean that you ought to have a vote.
Well,
Are you now saying that people who pay into the system should all be entitled to a vote, and those that receive from the system, such as children, should not be entitled to a vote?
No.
Then your argument is unfounded.
No, I'm saying that the 16-year-olds, people that leave school at the age of 16...
Yes, I've got what you've said.
Yeah.
I've no trouble understanding the information. I'm telling you that the information isn't a good enough reason.
Right, fair enough.
Because, A, your first reason was that they'll be under the power of government, well, so also are 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
Your second reason is that they may well be paying tax and insurance, national insurance. Well, you're now saying that people that don't pay tax and don't pay national insurance have a lesser right to the franchise.
Right, fair enough.
Are you saying that?
Well, I'm just saying that
I don't think you do know what you're saying, do you?
Well, you're pulling me down.
That's
Fair
my
enough.
job. How do Martin?
Hello, Alan.
Yes.
I'd like to ask you for some advice, if I could, please.
You can ask.
At work last Wednesday, after getting a letter, I was told to go to a disciplinary hearing. I attended this hearing, and as a result of the hearing, was given a final written warning. Now, I've only been at the actual job for 8 weeks, and throughout that time I've had very good timekeeping, and I haven't been in any trouble whatsoever. Now, I personally thought that the decision was a bit harsh, and there was several other people that were on at the same disciplinary hearing, you see.
You've only worked for the company for 8 weeks.
Well, it's not a company, it's actually a...
No matter what it is, you've worked for 8 weeks at this place.
Yeah.
And in that 8 weeks, you've managed to get yourself a final written warning.
Yeah, well...
Have you had any other warnings prior to that? None whatsoever?
None
What
whatsoever.
was the final written warning for?
Manipulating the time book, and it was said to me that...
So you basically did manipulate the time book, or are you denying it?
I'm denying it.
You didn't do it?
And I did not knowingly or deliberately falsify the time book.
In other words, you did falsify it?
Well...
Let's ask you the question again. I'm not got all day.
Yeah.
Did you or did you not falsify the time book?
I didn't falsify it because it wasn't actually signed.
What do you mean it wasn't signed?
Well, I didn't put a false time in the book.
Tell me the system. Tell me the system.
Well, you sign in the morning when you go in.
Yes. What do you mean by sign in?
Well,
there's a book, you sign your name.
Yeah, you put your time that you arrive.
And
then
your signature.
Your signature.
So you arrived one morning, the morning in question, let us say it was Tuesday. We don't know when it was, it doesn't matter. You arrived on the Tuesday, what did you do?
Well, on the day in question...
The day in question?
It was the actual leaving, the discrepancy.
Okay, well, you were leaving.
Yeah.
What time did you leave?
2:20.
What time are you supposed to leave?
2:30.
What did you put in the book?
I didn't.
You left it blank?
Yeah.
You did not complete the book?
No.
It's your job to complete the book?
Well, see, that's where the argument is that I have, because what normally happens is there's a charge.
What happened the next day?
Well, I was on holiday the following week.
What happened the next time you went to work?
Signed the book as normal, and then went to the hearing on the Wednesday.
And on the Wednesday they accused you of what?
Falsifying the time book to obtain monies which I was not entitled to.
In other words, you did not put in the book what you should have done, and that is that you left early.
Yeah, but
is that not falsification by default? You're not for one moment suggesting that you simply forgot.
Well, to be honest,
you? Did you forget?
I did actually forget,
Nonsense.
yeah, to be honest with you.
Nonsense. Do you expect an adult to believe that?
Yeah.
Have you ever forgotten before?
No.
Never?
No.
The one time you forgot was the time when you happened to sneak off early.
Yeah. See,
well, isn't that a coincidence? You must think your employers are idiots. Let me tell you something. If you were working for me, you wouldn't be working for me. I would have sacked you. I would have mauled about with all this final written warning. I'd have given you your cards. You deserve them. You've earned them. Goodbye. How do, Ian?
How do, Alan?
What do you want?
I'd like to talk about astral travel, please.
Oh, no. Tell me about it.
Well, I believe that I could convince you.
Then do so. Your beliefs are worth nothing. Convince me.
Well, would you prefer to try it? Would you prefer to try it?
No. I've got better things to do with me head than maul about with prats.
Well, I'm not a prat.
That's what you tell me.
Yeah. So you wouldn't be prepared to try it?
No.
Well, then I can't convince you.
You are correct.
Yeah.
If you can attempt me to try it during the course of this programme when I'm paid on some occasions to talk to prats, then fine. But if it involves something outside the 4 hours I get money for, then I ain't going to bother.
Yeah, well, I've been over to Red Rose tonight and...
Well, I don't really care where you've been tonight. Are you going to do it or aren't you?
No.
No.
I've been Beswicked.
You have indeed.
Good.
How do, Eva?
Hello, Alan. I would like to discuss with you AIDS.
Go on.
I saw the programme on Saturday and about first aids, and I was astounded at all the young men in the audience, although they had been told by 2 doctors of the seriousness of AIDS, still persisted that it was overblown and that they were going to still pull the birds, as one of them said. Now, I think this attitude is terrible in view of the seriousness of how it's spreading, and I think the government ought to protect the young that are coming up by them having blood tests before they get married.
What would that solve?
Well, at least they would know that they were both all right, and if they stayed together...
Well, just a minute.
Yeah?
What if they discovered that they weren't both all right?
Well, that's up to them, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is up to them, but you want this passed, and before we start deciding whether to make laws or not, we must look at both consequences. That's the good consequences and the bad consequences. So what do you think would happen in the event of a young couple deciding they were going to get married? They have an AIDS test and they discover that one of the parties has AIDS. What do you think's the likely outcome?
Well, it would be up to them to choose whether they want to...
Yes, it would be up to them to choose, wouldn't it? So what if they choose not to get married?
Oh, well, I mean, in that case, I'm only talking about protecting those that are coming up that haven't got AIDS.
Can we first of all establish that what you're talking about is protecting society?
That's right.
Now, what are these two...
Well, not society so much as the young that are coming up.
Well, are they not society?
Yes.
They are part of it, aren't they? So, you're talking about protecting a section of society.
Yes.
So 2 young people about to get married have an AIDS test, one of them proves positive, they decide, and some would say it's a sensible decision, not to get married.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen?
No idea.
Have a guess.
No idea what would happen.
Do you think the individual who is positively AIDSed, as it were, decided they're AIDSed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, first of all, the chances are, if that person has AIDS, there is a reasonable chance that he or she has already had intercourse with his or her partner.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously done a bit somewhere.
Maybe.
So there's a fair chance they've already got it anyway.
Yeah.
But let us just presume, for the purposes of this conversation, that it was a bad lad who's screwed around a bit, slept around a bit, I think we need for this programme. So slept around a bit, meets the girl he loves and decides to be faithful to her and not to sleep with her or anything until they're married.
Yeah.
It does happen.
Yeah.
So then they have the AIDS test, and Kilroy discovers he's got AIDS, does the honourable thing, leaves the area, says, look, love, I love you too much to marry you when I've got AIDS. Thanks very much. Good night, Vienna. Offski.
Yeah.
The honourable thing.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to become a monk?
No, I don't.
Do you think he's going to carry on sleeping around?
I don't, but look at it the other way.
Do you think he's going to carry on sleeping around?
I probably would, yes.
You think he would?
Yes, I do.
So he's going to spread AIDS?
Yes.
You're not going to get your objective, are you?
No, but on the other hand, supposing two people got married who hadn't had a test and didn't know they had AIDS, and then one of them got AIDS and gave it to the other one, as this doctor pointed out on
Well, just a sec, Eva. Let us just remember that we've already described the scenario, and the most likely scenario is that when they've gone for that test, they've already slept together.
Maybe not. I'm talking about two people who haven't. I'm talking about young people coming
If you're
up.
talking about two people who haven't slept around and haven't slept together, they've not much to worry about.
No, but how do they know the other one hasn't?
If you're telling me that two individuals should face a life together and they need evidence that their other partner hasn't slept around, I put to you that they shouldn't be contemplating facing a life together.
No, but this is the start of their life.
It is the start of their life together, or the marriage is, but let me tell you, they don't meet at 10 in the morning, get married at 11.
No,
So they've
no.
already got some life together, haven't they? Now, that life together may or may not involve sexual intercourse, but what it damn well should involve is finding out something about the history of their partner.
Yes, yes. Yes, of course.
Well, if they have discovered the history of their partner and they know that their partner has slept around, then fine, have the AIDS test. Find out whether their partner, who they've not yet slept with, has got AIDS or not. But if they discover that their partner has, and they decide not to get married, what do you think their partner's going to do? They're going to go away and they're going to sleep around. They're going to go back to their old lifestyle, and their old lifestyle is going to spread AIDS faster.
Well, that's up to them, isn't it?
It is up to them, but you see,
I mean,
Eva,
I'm talking about...
Eva,
Yes?
you're arguing in favour of a piece of legislation which you hope will protect society. But what it will do, instead of linking AIDS victims to one partner who they mutually love, it will cast that person away from that partner, the one bit of security they've perhaps got in their life, and throw them back into society and say you cannot get married because every time you come up to the marriage vow you're going to have an AIDS test and you're going to be found out, so you're not going to get married, you've got to become a monk. The guy isn't going to become a monk, he's going to go back to his old lifestyle, he's going to sleep around, and a lot more people are going to get AIDS. The objective of your bill would not be achieved. In fact, it is perfectly possible that the exact opposite would be achieved.
But don't you think that if this was carried out and people knew it was law, like I thought in America they had to have blood tests for compatibility, but evidently President Reagan has just said he wants them blood testing before
Well,
they
let's
get
not worry
married.
about what we thought in America. Let's talk about here. You want this piece of legislation. I've just given you a very good argument against it. You've not knocked the argument down. You've started talking about America. Let's hear what you've got to say.
No, well, I was just going to say, if they knew that a law was going to be passed, or a law, say, had been passed, well, don't you think they'd be more careful, knowing that they couldn't get married without...
No is the answer. No, they would not.
You don't?
When you... And I'm not going to even ask or suggest, but when I had my first sexual experience, the last thing I was thinking about was the consequences.
Well, I
of
mean,
any sort.
Well, maybe you got married before all this happened.
I'm not
now...
talking about marriage. I'm talking about my first sexual experience, which was many years before. And I think that is often the case for many.
Yes, I know
I
that.
honestly don't think, and do bear in mind, I'll give you some evidence. I really will give you some evidence.
Yeah.
Recently, there was a military unit on exercise in the middle of Africa.
Yeah.
And they were told categorically that the risks of sleeping with the local girls were massive.
Yeah.
There was a very, very high chance of them getting AIDS.
Yeah.
Did that stop them? No.
No, well...
And it wouldn't stop any other bunch of young men or bunch of young women either. There is a stronger motivation than some piece of paper passed by 90-year-old half-wits in a big house on the banks of the Thames. And it's called lust. And it doesn't have to shift a lot of buildings. All right, love.
Yes, okay.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
Nurses. For 3 days this week, Nursing Times will be holding a major exhibition at UMIS Sackville Street in Manchester City Centre. See all the latest products, equipment and services on the market for nurses today. Visit the Job Forum to meet employers who are offering all the latest nursing jobs. And there are over 20 seminars giving free guidance on all the career opportunities in nursing. The Nursing Times exhibition is on this Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday at UMIS Sackville Street in Manchester. Doors open at 10 a.m. Admissions free to all nurses. Don't miss it.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding.
Whether you're planning to buy a new Ford, Lada or Citroen, John Wilding now has all the latest models of all three of these makes in stock and waiting for you to test drive. Alternatively, if you're looking at fully guaranteed used, you won't find a better choice than the John Wilding's two fabulous showrooms on the A6 at Garstang for Ford and at Westgate Morecambe for Lada and Citroen.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding. John Wilding!
So there we were, browsing through the swimsuits when this gorgeous hunk came up to us.
He didn't.
He did. He said, you look like the sort of girl who's just booked her holiday with National Travel World's late booking desk, saved a fortune and got herself a microwave for only £79. So I thought to myself...
You didn't.
I did. I thought, how did he know? Turns out he's only a plumber from Preston and was in the queue behind me at National Travel World. But he took advantage of 10% discount on any item over £100 at Centro.
He didn't.
He did.
If you want a last-minute bargain holiday plus a microwave for only £79, book before the 30th of June at National Travel World's late booking desk.
It's just how you feel in the heat of the night. It's just how you feel when you know it's for real. It's a kick, it's a hit, it's a Coke. Coca-Cola is it.
I'll do, Ian.
Well, come on, talking about the unemployment rate. The figures the government gave us last week that unemployment rate is below 3 million is a load of rubbish, because the reason why the figures have dropped in the last month is people who've been on the dole for 12 months and some have been on the dole for 2 years have had to go on these community programme things. Well, they're not permanent jobs. They're not permanent jobs by no means. They're on.
Can I suggest to you that I'm not unemployed, and I've not got a permanent job. My colleague next door, Rod, he's not unemployed, he's not got a permanent job. There are no permanent jobs. All jobs have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
So what do you mean they're not permanent jobs? Of course they're not permanent jobs, but then neither's the Prime Minister's, although it's beginning to look that way.
Yeah. No, but what I mean is,
Well, would you like to tell me what you mean?
All right, well,
Have the opportunity to do
I know
so
what you mean.
before. You know what I mean. It's what you mean we're worried about.
Okay. Well, it's just these figures they're giving it. They're making it seem as if they've created some jobs when they haven't.
They're not making it seem as if they've created some jobs. They actually give out two figures. And one of the figures they give out is the number of real jobs, to use your sort of terminology. And more people have gained employment than gained employment previously. The figure of employment is perhaps the more important one, isn't it? How many people are working? Because you can't control how many people are not working. If suddenly 10 million babies were born, if we all had a good time, and 10 million babies were born, in 15 years' time we would have an awful problem getting jobs for all those people. So the most important figure is how many people are working. Now, there are more people working than were working 12 months ago.
Yeah.
So whatever's happened to unemployment really doesn't matter. It's what happens to employment. And the government tells us that in employment, more people are working.
Well, it's just that. I just wanted to make that point, and then, that...
Well, you made it, but it didn't do you any good.
No.
You have been Beswicked.
Some are easier than others. How do, Richie?
Yeah.
Thank you, Richie. That was interesting. How do, Dave? Dave, turn your radio off. How do, Chris?
Hello.
Hello.
I believe you're against armed forces.
Why do you believe that?
Well, you're a pacifist, aren't you?
Why do you believe that?
Well, I've urged you against violence and all that.
I see.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good idea.
What?
'Cause if we didn't have the armed
You think
forces...
what's a good idea?
Armed forces.
Why?
Because if we didn't have the armed forces, well, you wouldn't be protected, would you?
Well, would I need to be if nobody had them?
Yeah, because there'd still be outbreaks of war and everything.
Who would do the fighting if nobody had armed forces?
Well, there's still going to be politicians, isn't there, and everything?
Well,
They're
are the,
gonna be arguing.
are the politicians going to hit one another?
No, but they're going to get armies together.
Well, I
It
just
all
said...
starts from one point, though, doesn't it?
Dave. No, it's not Dave, it's Chris. Chris, can we just establish that my objective is to remove violence from the world?
Yeah.
Now, the only way to remove violence from the world is for men and women to stop hitting one another. Do you agree?
Yeah, but violence
Now
in
then.
the playground.
Hold it.
No, violence is all over.
Oh, so
No way of
violence...
stopping violence.
So what you're saying is my objective is somewhat forlorn. I'm not going to
It's going
achieve
to be
it.
very difficult to achieve, though, isn't it?
Very difficult, you seem to be saying now. A few moments ago you said there was no way. Which is it?
Well, I think it's going to be it's going to be quite impossible to achieve.
You can't
yeah.
be quite impossible.
Well, it's
The
gonna be
thing is
impossible
impossible.
to achieve.
Right, so you think that because it is impossible to achieve, and I actually agree with you, that I should therefore agree with something that my morality tells me is wrong, correct?
Yeah.
Well, my morality is more important than anything else to me, and I believe violence is immoral. I therefore campaign against violence. If you're telling me I ought to campaign in favour of it, I'm telling you no. Violence is wrong, and the only way, and it's ludicrous I know, but the only way to stop violence is to not be violent. If the armies of the world said no, we will no longer kill each other just because the politicians have ballsed it up, then we would not have war. And until every man jack, and woman jack if you like, in the world says no, I will not kill for your beliefs, we will have violence. But I want no one to kill for my beliefs, least of all me. Who do you want to kill for yours?
Well, I'm not in favour of people killing for my beliefs.
You are.
But I'm not.
You are, Chris. You very much want them to. You want the army, should the time arise, to kill for your beliefs, do you not? Do you not? Do you or do you not want the army?
At me. Who do you think
Why
you are?
not? I'm me.
You're a nobody. You're a no-mark.
Chris.
If somebody's got a dispute against me...
Chris!
Alan!
Good night, Chris. I may well be a no-mark, but you rang me, remember? I wouldn't ring a no-mark, ever. And actually, I don't wish to speak to one any longer. I'll do line 2, whose name we've not got, but no doubt Rod will tell... Oh, it's Eric. Hello, Eric.
Hello, Alan.
Yes?
Yeah. I've got a problem.
I can tell that.
Yeah. My problem is I've been sacked from work.
Well, that's a hell of a problem.
With sacked from work, I've got, not many people like me.
I fully understand that. I can't stomach you myself, and I've only just spoke to you.
Yeah.
There's so much to see and do on the Isle of Man, you'll never fit it all in without a car. Fishing, windsurfing, motorsport, golf, you'll drive a long way before you find anywhere else with as much to offer. So put your foot down this weekend to the Isle of Man with Isle of Man steam packet seaways from Heysham and Liverpool. See your travel agent.
The better way to get away, it's Isle of Man Seaways.
It's 11:30.
Win £50, £20, £15 each week at the Newmarket and M2 Market, Waterloo Road, Blackpool.
If the roof caves in or you need a new bin, get yourself down to Fairwood. Need a new front door or tiles on the floor, get yourself down to Fairwood. If the front gate squeaks or the radiator leaks or the house needs a lick of paint, then nail it, screw it, you know you can do it yourself with Fairwood. Need a tin of grout or a new downspout, do it yourself with Fairwood. Patio flags and cement in bags, do it yourself with Fairwood. Keep the weather out, insulate the house, you can save yourself a mint. Just nail it, screw it, you know you can do it yourself with Fairwood.
At Cemetery Road, Southport, Higgins Lane, Burscough, and now at Market Woods, Wigan Road, West Horton. When you go on holiday this year, send me a postcard and you could win a fabulous prize. John Gilmore here, giving away 3 fantastic prizes. For the postcard I receive, posted the furthest away from Lancashire, the winner will receive a £600 sunbed to keep that tan topped up from Ainsworth and Dent of Nelson. For the sauciest postcard, the winner will have a weekend for 2 at Blackpool's Imperial Hotel. And finally, for the most original message, wish you were weather here fine, the winner receives a voucher for £150 to spend on ladies' or gents' clothing from Lewis's of Blackpool. So have a great holiday and don't forget to send me a postcard. And listen between 12 noon and 3 for your card to be read out. This competition closes at the end of August with the winner announced in September.
I'll do Brian.
Right, Alan.
Yes?
I've got a slight problem with my lecky bill. What it is, right, I owe 388 quid, right, due to my meters being robbed twice, right. I've been disconnected at the moment, and for it to be connected again, they want £600, £200 security plus the money what I owe them. I want to know, can they do that? Hang on.
Yes.
I've offered...
Yes.
Yeah, no, I've offered to...
Well, you wanted to know whether they could do it? Yes.
Yeah, right, I've offered to pay them back.
You wanted to know whether they could do it. You've got an answer.
I made a mistake.
Oh, well, you don't want to know.
I need some advice.
Take it back. What do you mean you need some advice? Go to Citizens Advice Bureau. Go to the Citizens Advice Bureau. I haven't got all night to talk to you. Pay your electric bill in the future. I'll do Brian. I'll do Mark.
All right, Alan.
Yes.
I'm ringing up. I don't know if you saw it on the news.
I know you're ringing up.
This girl was commenting to the newscaster about YTS money. Saying that it's not enough to keep her, she has to pay for her living and whatever, she has to buy her clothes. Well, I think that's a load of rubbish, because I've been on the YTS for 12 months, and out of that I bought a car and a motorbike out of that money what they get, and I...
Do you live at home with your parents?
Well, yeah.
What do you mean, well, yes? You either do or you don't.
Yeah, well...
You do?
The girl
and do your parents take any money off you?
Yeah, well, they took a third of what I got.
They take a third, so you're left with 2/3.
Yeah.
So you're being subsidised by your parents.
Well, I didn't take any more.
You're being subsidised by your parents.
Well, so is the girl who's on the
Well, you
phone.
don't know that to be the case. You're just guessing.
Well,
but you clearly are, and that is what has enabled you to afford those things. I'm not criticising you for that. That is what has done it. I'll do Barry. I'll do Mark.
All right, Al.
Yes?
Can I talk about the army and violence?
Yes?
Well, I think we should have the army to keep people in place,
Right?
No, because you need, don't you? You'll never get rid of violence in the world. Because if someone's going to punch you, you're going to obviously want to punch them back, aren't you?
No.
It stands to reason you can't
Well, that stands to your reason, but that is a recipe for violence.
And you need the army anyway to keep all troublemakers like darkies and all that.
Like what?
Darkies.
Are they troublemakers?
Most of them are, yeah, they're always rioting.
How many do you know?
Quite a few.
And all of them riot?
Well, a lot of them do.
A lot. Most. Why do you associate with rioters? Are you a rioter?
No, they're not my friends, I know them.
Oh, you just know them? You
Yeah.
say, oh, look, there's a darkie. Oh, and he's rioting. My word.
Yeah, that's
Get
the way
off,
to go.
filth. Go away. You're an intellectual pygmy. I'll do Harvey.
Hello, Alan. Alan,
Yes?
I'd like to talk about YTS.
If you haven't got anything original to say, then I'm not going to listen to it.
I'd like to talk about the new scheme that the government's bringing out, where they won't pay supplementary benefit to school leavers unless they go on a YTS.
Well, that seems reasonable. Why should they be allowed to languish at home doing sweet nothing?
Yeah, but they don't know language at home doing sweet
Well,
nothing, do
those who are not languishing at home should be away doing work.
they? Yeah, but most of them can't find work, can they?
Well, if they can't find work, then they'll be all right on the scheme, won't they? Out
No.
the way.
No.
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 What should they do then?
Get your job.
There's only one of these jobs.
Mm.
And people like you can't do it.
Yeah.
Can you?
No.
So that's that out of the way, isn't it? I suggest you take a YTS. You're probably not up to that. I'll do Mark.
Hiya, Alan.
Yes, I am.
I'd like to talk about research money. I think that some money for research should be rerouted into other research.
Well, from where to where?
Well, for example...
from where to where was the question. Answer that.
Better communications.
From where to where?
from better communications to medical matters.
So you
such
don't
as
want
AIDS.
research going into communications. You want it going into medical matters.
Well, specifically AIDS.
Into AIDS.
Yeah.
And what good will that do?
Well, it'll stop a lot of people dying.
Only if they get an answer.
An answer to what?
An answer to the question, what causes AIDS and what can we do to prevent AIDS?
Well,
there is already a considerable amount of research going on throughout the world. Adding to that research, duplicating that research, will not actually improve the chances that much.
Well, an intake of more money would do.
I think if you gave the best scientist in the world £1,000 million, I don't think he'd be any more intelligent, I don't think he would have any more knowledge, and I don't think AIDS at the moment is not being investigated because of lack of funds.
Well, what would they want money for in the first place then? They'd want it for equipment, stuff like that.
They're already investigating into the cause and potential cure of AIDS.
Yeah, and they need it for all these chemicals that they use.
Well, they're
So more
already
money-
doing it. They're already doing it.
Yes, but more money would enable them to get more equipment to do it a lot faster.
Well, I don't know that it would enable to get... I suppose the infinite number of monkeys principle comes in on the basis that if you have everybody in the world looking for a cure, then one of them will find it. But the world has to go on meanwhile.
Well, yes, I agree with that. But,
So
as I
what
said,
would be the advantage of setting up a laboratory in the middle of Lancashire to investigate AIDS? What would be the advantage? Those people who start that investigation would have to start at square one.
Yeah.
Well, there are people already well on the way in that research, aren't there?
Yeah, but there's more chance of somebody getting it if there's a lot more people
Well,
doing it.
yes, but that's an argument for saying all research should be dealing with AIDS. Ignore cancer, that's just a killer, that won't wipe out the world. Ignore cancer, ignore leukemia, do away with all them, that won't wipe the world out. A few kids will die, but that's all right. And we'll all concentrate on AIDS.
Well, no,
the world doesn't work like that.
No, I'm not suggesting to do that at all.
What are you
No, I'm just suggesting some more money should be put into medical matters, and one
Then
example was AIDS.
why pick on communications? Because most of the research into communications is done by private enterprise, people spending their own money. Are you suggesting we should tell them how to spend their money?
Well, maybe they should realise for themselves.
Well, maybe they do realise for themselves. Maybe what they realise is that they've got to keep abreast of other countries in communications, because if they don't, they won't be able to export their products. And if they don't export their products, they won't make a profit. If they don't make a profit, they won't pay tax. They don't pay tax, the government won't have any money to give to AIDS research.
Yeah, well, what about...
So the country has still got to make a living.
Well, okay, then what about research into power sources? New power sources?
Well, even into new power sources, unfortunately, in terms of profitability, it isn't that productive.
Yeah, but there's manpower there as well, isn't there?
What do you
Going
mean
into that.
manpower? Are you suggesting
Well,
we do
there's
away with the nuclear power station, get 500 men riding bikes?
Well,
What do
no.
you mean by manpower?
No, I'm talking about research into new power sources, not existing
Yes,
ones at the
research into new power sources.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we'll not find any new power sources, will we? We've already got the power sources. What we've got to find is using...
method of using it, yeah.
Yes, using the ones such as wind power.
Well, yeah, so we've got money.
The largest windmill in Europe is about to be completed on, I think it's in one of the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah.
So there is money going into that. Not enough, I agree. But again, who's going to do it?
Yes, but why can't that money be diverted? I mean, we've got power.
So
at
we
the moment.
abandon that. We abandon that, and we let all these babies that are allegedly dying of leukemia, and there was another batch of statistics released last week, and even the Department of Health were horrified at the statistics and the, should we say, the incidence of leukemia around nuclear power stations and other nuclear installations. Even the Department of Health criticised the statistics, saying that they were frightening and that more research needed to be done, but that's what they always say. So we condemn these babies to leukemia in order to protect grown men who screw around, and women who screw around, from AIDS. Seems a little harsh.
No, Alan, I was just using AIDS as an example, that's all.
Well, you used AIDS as an example. That was the example you chose. I've just destroyed your example. I've destroyed your argument. Good night.
You have been Beswicked.
Howdy, Mark. Howdy, Noel.
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good. Now, I want to talk about British justice. I'm involved in a very big lawsuit at present, which I'm losing.
It would help a lot if you'd have stayed sober. You'll have to speak more
Well,
clearly.
remember, Alan, I'm not drunk. I don't drink tonight.
Have you not?
No, I don't drink, mate. Oh, no. Don't kiss me on that.
Well, your head has, so go on.
Right, well, I just want to say that British justice is a farce. On my own case.
Tell us about it.
Well, I got a home improvements grant in 1982-83. I got a contractor, which I didn't know much about. I don't know much about building renovations, very little. Learn a bit more now. And this contractor came along, started work. After about 6 months or 9 months, he wanted me to sign a form. I said, no, it's not finished, mate, it's not finished. He said, sign that form, sign that form, sign that form.
You don't need a play.
I'm sorry. He just kept on insisting I sign the form. In the end, I kept on refusing, so he took me to court. Now, I had to go and get a solicitor, local solicitor. He had a local solicitor, I got a local solicitor. I said, I lost the second hearing.
What's the dispute?
The dispute is that I lost the second hearing.
No, I don't want to know what you lost. I want to know what the argument's about.
But he had not finished the job. His work to about £8,000.
Who sued who?
The contractor sued me.
What for?
Money. But
Right.
I was supposed to owe him for
Well,
work he
hold
had...
it. He wouldn't sue you for money that you weren't supposed to owe.
Right, correct.
So you're
sorry.
saying, I'm not paying you the money because you haven't done the work.
That's all right.
Fine. And the court's...
I lost the second hearing, now I've got a charge order on the house. You know what a charge order is?
Yes. In other words, the court said he has
Finished.
done the work.
Yep. Just like that.
Well, what do you mean, just like
Well,
that?
I mean, say, why did they... You have to know the circumstances to know why they said that. I had no right to say he's finished the job.
Well, why does the court say it's finished if it's not?
Because they accepted a false survey document, and my solicitor at the time didn't offer any new evidence. So we just...
When you say a false survey document, what do you mean? Was it done by an independent surveyor?
No, well, an independent survey come from a local... How can I mention names here without getting cut off? So I can't. No, I can't mention names. So it was a local survey. He was in the
I've just
person area.
asked a simple question,
Right,
Noel. An answer
right.
will suffice. Was
Right.
it an independent surveyor?
Well, it depends on what you call independent. See, if
I mean one that was working for neither you nor the other side.
in a sense, he worked for the other side, but I
In a
can't prove
sen-
it. But he was actually an independent surveyor. We'll call him independent surveyor, yes.
So the court has taken the evidence of an independent surveyor?
Yes, in a sense, because...
If I'd have been the judge, I'd have done the same. How do Linda? Hello, Linda?
Hello.
Yeah,
Mr.
turn your
Beswick.
radio off.
Hello, Mr. Beswick.
Yes?
Hello. It's this subject I want to talk about. It's about my husband that was deported to Zambia 2 years ago.
Go on.
I'm having no luck with the Home Office. I've been to tribunals about it. He came to Britain in 1978 on a 2-month visa, and when he came over to Britain, he started to try and prove his British citizenship through his grandfather. He found his grandfather's birth certificate. His grandfather was born in Wales, Bridgend, Glamorgan, and the Home Office refused to accept that. He was deported after a 5-year stay in England, and then I went out to Zambia.
Can I ask a simple question first of all? You say he came over on a 2-month visa.
Yeah.
He then overstayed that?
did, yeah.
Illegally?
Yeah.
Serves him right, doesn't it?
Sorry?
Serves him right, doesn't it?
No, the Home Office did give him chance. They said he could stay.
Oh, so he didn't illegally overstay
Well,
as well?
no, he didn't actually.
Well, you said he did when I asked.
Well, no, he didn't. The Home Office gave him so long to prove that he
Well,
was
let's... just a second. Did the Home Office give him this permission before the 2 months visa that he had expired, or did they give it some time later?
just before it expired.
Right.
Excuse me. And
It's all right.
he went and he found the birth certificate after a lot of trouble. He went to London from Bolton, found the birth certificate, and the Home Office refused to accept it because they said it could have been just any birth certificate. I have got the birth certificate with me.
Well, yes, but a birth certificate is very easy to obtain. I mean, you can just pick anyone's, as the Home Office rightly said.
Well, yeah.
Can he
but-
not offer any other evidence of his bona fides?
Not only that his grandfather went over to South Africa in 1906, I think it was.
Well, yes, but so will have hundreds of other people.
Well, in the meantime, he was put in Strangeways prison for 5 months.
Who was?
my husband.
Yeah, we're not bothered about your husband for the moment. His claim to British citizenship is via his grandfather, and he cannot prove that the individual he claims with his grandfather was.
No, but Barbara Castle, member of the European Parliament.
Yes, I know what Barbara Castle is, yeah.
Yeah, well, she was behind us all the way. She was fighting for us.
And we still haven't won.
No.
Could she find any other evidence?
Well, actually, at the time he was being deported, he was taken to Gatwick Airport, and Barbara Castle herself went to the airport to have a stay of the deportation.
Yeah, evidence is what I'm interested in.
Yeah, well, she did have the evidence with her.
What evidence was it?
Well, it was proof of his British citizenship she had on her person at the time. But the special branch that arrested him kept him prisoner at Gatwick
what
Airport.
was the evidence?
It was a proof that he was. She got the proof.
What form did the evidence take?
From the. It was a document from the South African ambassador in South Africa to say that it was right that he is British.
Well, just a sec. When you say the South African ambassador in South Africa, I'm not really sure the South African ambassador resides in Britain.
Well, what I'm trying to say is the South African ambassador. Yeah, Barbara Castle has a letter from him. I've got it with me actually, to say that there had to be a stay of deportation. They had to stop the deportation until further evidence was found, because the evidence had been found that he was British. But Barbara Castle didn't get to see Jack at Gatwick. He was put on an aeroplane and flown out with two special branch. And since I've written to Barbara Castle, and we can't do anything about it. Now as he's gone, because they've confiscated his passport. He's no passport anymore. I went out to Zambia to live there with him. I stayed 5 months. I gave everything up over here. We went to the British High Commission. We got married in Zambia, but nothing makes any difference. I went to a tribunal in Manchester in January of this year. It was turned down again. And, I'm like...
But what was the reason it was turned down? They always give a reason.
The reason was that for overstaying, he had to be punished, and this is his punishment.
The implication of that is that he overstayed without permission. Earlier you said he overstayed with permission.
Yeah, but you see, Alan, the thing is that these people are cleverer than us. They've got us over a barrel, because we're just like sort of laymen. We're ordinary people that don't understand all these complications.
Well, we don't need to know whether you understand the complications or not. All I want to know is, did he illegally stay in this country at any time? Eventually he did.
Yeah, he did eventually.
Well, it's fairly, almost inevitable, is it not, that the Home Office will not take, should we say, a dim view. They will take a very dim view of someone that breaks the law. Well, the guy is claiming British citizenship, fine, and if he can substantiate that, then the whole thing will revert back, or will then be entitled him.